everyone, and welcome to my corner of the internet. A couple of weeks ago, I posted a video on my Inktober, Drawtober progress this year. I've been really busy this October, but I finally managed to finish all of my Inktober drawings just in time, and that's what I'll be sharing today. So starting with number 9, the prompt was architecture, and of course I had to go with some Egyptian architecture. This is actually the Temple of Horus, which I've used kind of as a model for the architecture of the fictional temple that I've drawn my characters with. Prompt number 10 was a reflection, and I drew the moon reflected in water. I started using markers in prompt number 2, and after doing that, I was kind of hooked on them. It really made the process go so much faster, and it looked a lot smoother than a lot of the hatching and pen shading techniques that I was using for some of these drawings. So you can see that's what I used here. Prompt number 11 was an image of something or someone you love. And here I drew myself on a video call with my best friend. Prompt number 12 was leading lines, and I had a bit of trouble with this one. First of all, because I wasn't totally sure what leading lines were. So after a few Google searches, I finally came up with the idea that leading lines are lines in an image that are meant to draw your eye towards a certain part of the image. I decided initially to draw a theater, but I was having trouble finding reference photos that were really what I wanted, so I sort of changed my idea to a street. Somehow that idea morphed into a crosswalk, so that is what I drew here. And you can see that once again, I did use markers. I couldn't use the alcohol markers because they do bleed through quite a bit. So I used some water-based markers, but to be honest, I don't really like the way they look as much as the alcohol markers. They're not quite as smooth. Number 14 was something blue. And I have to say, blue is my favorite color, so I had a bit of trouble choosing what I wanted to draw. But I finally decided on an iceberg, which, if the picture were in color, you would see has blue ice. I really like blue glacial ice. I just think that it's so pretty, and I really hope that I get to see some someday. The next prompt was too much of something, and if there's one thing that I have too much of, it's books. I love shopping at thrift stores and book sales to get old antique books, and I love reading, so I always have this ever-growing pile of to-be-read books. Even when I get books from the library instead of buying them, I tend to go overboard, so that's what this is a drawing of. Prompt number 15 was your favorite meal today. And I know I'm probably pretty boring with my meal choices, but I have to say that my favorite meal is tea and soup. You can only sort of tell that that is what this is supposed to be a picture of, since I decided to draw it from the side, but that's what it is. Prompt number 16 was the sky, and I decided to draw Joshua Tree National Park at night. My family actually went there a year or so ago to see the stars there, and it was really beautiful. I also have to say I love this technique of putting in the stars with correction fluid after I draw the rest of the picture. It works pretty well. Number 17 was a shadow, and I drew this little cat in a doorway but backlit, so her shadow is a lot bigger than she is. I just thought this was really cute, and I know that this is how my cat sees herself. The next prompt was movement, and of course the first thing I thought of was dancing, and I decided to draw one of my characters dancing. Prompt number 19 was a close-up, and I drew a little snail on a leaf. I really like snails, especially just, the regular garden snails, the Cornu aspersum. They are so cute, and if you've ever caught some and tried to raise them, you'll see that they actually do have little personalities. Prompt number 20 was a complete stranger. Now, these prompts that I'm working off of were photography prompts, so I think the idea behind this prompt was to go out and just take a picture of some random person, but I don't really like to be too obvious when I'm drawing people, and I also thought it would be weird to just take a picture of some random person with my phone. So I went on Unsplash, the stock photo website, and I just looked up pictures of people, and I found this guy here, and I really thought that he looked snazzy with his coat there, so I decided to draw him. Prompt number 21 was water, and with this one again, I had a kind of a hard time choosing what I was going to draw, but I finally went with this person getting some water from a river or something. I kind of had the vague idea that this was going to be one of my characters. I don't know for sure. And once again, thank you so much to Unsplash for providing me with this great reference photo. I've linked all my reference photos in the description. I love stock photo sites. They're so helpful. For prompt number 22, the prompt was smoke. I actually had plans for a full illustration, but I've been so busy this October, so I decided to just draw a match. I always think it's pretty cool when you light a match. There's just this tiny wisp of smoke coming off the end, so that's what I tried to capture here. For prompt number 23, which was vintage, I decided to draw my favorite vintage candlestick. I found this candlestick at an antique store several years ago, and this is probably the second or third time that I've drawn it. I like it a lot. I tried my best with blending the water-based markers. I don't know how well that went, but I did try. Prompt number 24 was something surprising. Now this prompt sounded very similar to a prompt that I had on my Drawtober prompt list last year, which was just a surprise. And for that prompt, I drew TJ surprising Elizabeth with a surprise party. So I didn't want to do anything that was that obvious. So I went with the idea of an egg hatching. I tried to find a good photo of an egg hatching, but the thing is that chicks hatching out of eggs do look a little weird when they first come out of the egg because their fluffy feathers are all wet. And I don't really like reptiles that much. They kind of creep me out. So I eventually just decided on a picture of 2 eggs, one of which is cracked. But I think that this still counts because even just the yolk spilling out of an egg could be very surprising, especially if you thought, that egg was hard-boiled or something. For prompt number 25, multiples of 3, I went with a monocot flower. This might be a pretty nerdy fact to know, but I always remembered that monocots have flowers with petals in groups of 3, so that's what I drew here. I don't know what kind of flower it is, but you can tell that it's a monocot and its petals are in groups of 3. Prompt number 26 was family, and again, I was initially planning to draw some of my characters, but I was kind of running out of time, so I went with the chicken family instead to keep with the egg theme. Prompt number 27 was something that jumps. I don't even know why I drew a grasshopper here because I really do not like grasshoppers at all. They freak me out so much. Immediately after drawing this guy, I had the much better idea to draw a kangaroo rat, which are much cuter than grasshoppers, but it was kind of too late, and I think that the picture came out pretty well anyway. Prompt number 28 was something deconstructed. And of course, the first thing I thought of was Egyptology related. One thing that I've learned spending way too much time on the Metropolitan Museum of Art's website is that natural fibers like linen and flax and things like that don't tend to last for multiple thousands of years. So sometimes when jewelry is discovered, the string that the beads were on has actually disintegrated and it's just the beads there. And then it's kind of up to the archaeologists to figure out what type of jewelry it was. The particular piece of jewelry that I based this picture on is an anklet from the Middle Kingdom of Egypt. I don't know if it was discovered like this, but I decided to draw a deconstructed version with just the beads in a line. Prompt 29 was curve or curves, and for that I decided to draw the street sign that, at least in the United States, symbolizes a road that has a lot of curves in it. Prompt number 30 was anything creative. I don't always feel like a very creative person because sometimes I feel like I'm just regurgitating things that I've seen, painting pictures of existing photographs. But then I think about all the original characters I've created and I figure that's pretty creative. So I thought, what is my most creative character? And I finally decided on Roger. There really is only one Roger. Prompt number 31, finally, the prompt for today, was what makes you smile? And I decided to draw myself and my cat reading. She's always very helpful when I'm reading. She loves to get in the way. It always makes me smile because it's a combination of two of my favorite things. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed my little ramblings about my Inktober drawings. If you've done the Inktober challenge this year or in previous years, or if you have anything to say about it, feel free to comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.